Kita bersama pewaris Shito-Ryu Malaysia, Shihan Naser Sheikh Annuar.
Well, our vision is to strive towards universal standardization of the original Shito-Ryu Karate Do as taught by the founder Mabuni Sensei, the late Mabuni Sensei. And presently we have 30 member countries that are members of the World Shito-Ryu Karate Do Federation, which was inaugurated in 1993 in Japan. And in Asia alone, we are 16 countries strength, members of the Asian Shito-Ryu Karate Do Federation. This standardization of the traditional and original technique of Shito-Ryu Karate Do is very important, in the sense that we wish to maintain the original Shito-Ryu that has been taught by the late Mabuni, as I mentioned earlier, and also to standardize especially the kata, which is our great asset and inheritance. Presently, throughout the world, we would say our members stand at about 50,000, and in Asia alone, we represent about 60% of this membership. Right. In Malaysia, the Shito-Ryu Karate Do Association has branches in about 8 states, and we have a total membership of about 2,000. We are actively promoting this art, and we hope that we would be the vanguard, not only to the karate of this country, but also to contribute towards universal karate do development. Well, historically, the Shito-Ryu is a combination of the Shurite and the Nahate style, and the emphasis is on more or less natural stance, which is higher, and speedy footwork, compact techniques, or hand techniques, and emphasis is more on the speedy counter-attack and attack. Kata has always been said as the essence and soul of Karate Do. Without kata, there is no really Karate Do. Kata is actually a set of movements encompassing the various defense and attack techniques, which is to be performed in concert with balance, proper breathing, proper execution of the techniques, and so forth. When one practices kata in a very high concentration way, one is actually involved in a fight. One is actually involved in combat with more than one person. And such performance calls for a very high degree of concentration of the mind, the spirit, as well as the physical aspect of the movements. The 3 katas that have been performed come from 3 categories, which form a very important part of our Shito-Ryu kata syllabus. The first kata, Seipai, is from the Nahate category. The second kata of Nipaipo is from the Kakuho group, which is of the crane style. And the third kata, Basaidai, is from the Shurite. These 3 katas have their own different but very specialized characteristics. We will find in Seipai kata the emphasis is more on the breathing system, the slow internal breathing but dynamic system, and uses a lot of kaishu techniques, open hand techniques. Whereas the Nipaipo, which is from the Kakuho group, also depicts very sophisticated techniques, especially those involving the Sagiashidachi, or the one stance defense against the opponent. And thirdly, the Basaidai, we'll find this kata is more of a speedy type, which is typical of the Shurite style. Yeah, the 5 principles of defense in the Shito-Ryu are Raka, Ryusui, Teni, Kushin, and Hangiki. These 5 principles are actually movements of the footwork, of defense, striking, attacks, and so forth, which can easily be found in all the kata in our syllabus. Raka, for example, is pure defense against the opponent's attack. That is, aborting or striking at the opponent's attack and countering. The idea is to actually inflict pain and injury on the opponent's physical body, whether it's arm or legs, and to counter strongly, decisively. In Ryusui, it represents the principle of the flowing water, which means we do not actually go against the opponent's attack, the strength and the speed, but rather divert or absorb such attacks and applying our counter thereafter. In Teni, it involves Tai Sabaki, which is footwork. And this is important in the Shito-Ryu system because footwork is a specialized area, specialized aspect in Shito-Ryu Karate-Do. The idea is to dart in and out and be very as elusive as possible, and not letting any opportunity for the opponent to counter us immediately after we have penetrated their defense. Now in Kushin, this involves 2 terms actually, Kutsu and Shin, which means to stretch as well as to contract, literally. But practically what it means is the changing of the stance in Shito-Ryu system. That is dropping to a lower stance and springing to a higher stance. The idea is to confuse the opponent. Under Hangeki we have 3 techniques called Sen, Gono-Sen, and Sen-no-Sen. In Sen, we create a situation where we are able to penetrate the opponent. In Gono-Sen, we cut through the opponent's attack, which means when the opponent delivers an attack, our defense technique not only works as a defense technique, but an attack by itself. And in Sen-no-Sen, we are able to see when the opponent attempts to attack, and we will go in before the opponent is able to execute whatever technique he wishes to do.